Hey guys, welcome to another one of my videos. I'm Ben and this is my channel, Simply Vagabond. Alright, so in this video we're going to be looking at some big engines, okay? Yeah, these are huge. Lots of power, lots of smoke, lots of poke. So these engines come out of a big ship called the Stena Britannica. Alright, she's a big girl. She was first sailed in 2010, so she's relatively new. And she belongs to a company called Stena Lines, which run ferries all over, but in this case it's from Horwich in the UK to the Hook of Holland. Now the Stena Britannica has a sister ship called the Stena Hollandica. Alright, but we're not going to go into that because I haven't frankly been on it, so I can't tell you much about that one. Sorry. So I got on the Stena Britannica to go across to Europe, mainland, ready for my tour of Europe in my camper van. While I was on the ferry I got quite bored. Yeah, that's pretty normal for me really, no big drama. So I went off to find something interesting to do, or to learn, or to see. Anyway, ping, light bulb came on. Straight to information desk. Hello there. Hello sir. How can I help you? So then I just came out with it. I just literally came out with it. I said, can I have a look at your engines? But then, to my absolute heartbreak, she said, I'm sorry sir, we don't do engine tours anymore. No. I just simply wasn't having that for an answer. So, like a fucking kid, I pleaded with her. I was like, please, there's no one on the ship, it's really quiet, this is my last chance, I just want to see it. Then she picked up the phone and said, 2 minutes, sir. While ringing somebody. Anyway, next thing, this door opens. And this guy walks through and says, hi, I'm Simon. I'm the chief engineer. Do you want to come and have a look at the engines? Whoa! Yeah! So the Stena Britannica is fairly long. It's 240 metres long by 51 metres tall, which means that it's roughly the same size as 2 Premiership football pitches end to end. Okay? With her being that size, it means you can have a maximum gross weight of 64,039 tonnes. Hang on a minute. Rewind that. 64,039 tonnes. Wow. So now knowing them facts, I'm presuming you're going to want to know what powers it. Obviously it's going to have to be something big for all that weight and all that size. Well, let's have a look. Okay, so firstly, this is the engine bay location in this vessel. She's about 3/4 of the way to the back, located roughly underneath, just forwards of the chimney stacks. The engines do actually sit underneath the waterline. Obviously you can't see them because they're right in the bowel of the ship, right at the bottom. But yeah, that's where all 4 engines live. Yep, she's got 4. Here they are. This is engine 1 and engine 2. Then engine 3 and engine 4. So these engines are a MAN engine. That's the brand of them, MAN. They are massive, okay? So they are 4-stroke diesels. I said there's 4 engines, right? 2 engines have 8 cylinders each. The other 2 engines have 6 cylinders each. So on the starboard side you've got an 8-cylinder and a 6-cylinder together, and on port side you have an 8-cylinder and a 6-cylinder together as well. So you've got 2 banks of engines. We'll go into that a little bit more further into the video. These massive MAN engines all have their own turbocharger. They don't share. So this, guys, is one of those turbos I have just mentioned. It wouldn't be fair to mention it and not show you it, okay? You can clearly see the inlet turbine and the exhaust turbine. One complete turbo there for one engine. As I've explained, there are 4 engines. 2 with 8 cylinders each and 2 with 6 cylinders each. Okay, so altogether in that ship there are 28 cylinders. Now here's the staggering part, okay? Each cylinder on its own produces how many horsepower? Take a guess. Are you ready? Per cylinder, 1,600 horsepower per cylinder. Which means that an engine with 8 cylinders produces 12,800 horsepower. Right, let's do a little bit of maths here, okay? So there's 2 engines with 8 cylinders each, 16 cylinders altogether. That is 25,600 horsepower between 2 engines. Now let's take into account the 6-cylinder engines, okay? So one 6-cylinder engine will produce 9,600 horsepower. Then you times that by 2, because there's obviously 2 6-cylinder engines, and you get 19,200 horsepower. So the 6 cylinders are producing 19,200 horsepower between them. So if we combine the twin 8-cylinder engines with the twin 6-cylinder engines, we will get a combined horsepower output for this vessel of 45,000 horsepower. Okay, I'm going to try and put this into perspective for you, right? Because that is a big, big number. Alright, 45,000 horsepower. So let's put it this way. The new BMW i8s, you know, the new smart, half electric, whatever the hell it is, that is roundabouts 227 horsepower on its own. Which means you would need 197 of these cars to match the output of the Stena Britannica. What I'm about to show you is what's called as a connecting rod. Alright, so for those of you who aren't mechanically minded, a connecting rod connects your crankshaft to your piston. Okay, so your crankshaft's here, your piston's here, and the thing in the middle which joins them together so they all go up and down, that's called your connecting rod. Right, these things are huge, alright? I mean, I'm 6'1" and this connecting rod is bigger than me. It's probably 6'3", 6'4", and that's just one of them. Bearing in mind there's going to be 28 of these because there's 28 cylinders. Okay. Also, with it being a 4-stroke, it has inlet and outlet valves. These things are huge as well. I think they're just a bit over a metre per valve. Yeah, obviously there's 1 inlet, 1 outlet per cylinder head. So you're going to get 28 inlet valves, you're going to get 28 outlet valves. And here they are now. I mean, guys, everything that's involved in this engine or these engines is really, really heavy. You need an overhead crane to move anything. If you want to take anything out of the engine, put anything in the engine, you're going to need a crane for it. So that's why they've got overhead cranes going along to make the job a lot easier. Okay, so bearing in mind the engines are right in the bottom of the ship. Okay, this means that there's very, very limited ventilation down there, and obviously everything's metal around it, so the temperature is unbearable. I went down there, I was all rigged up, had my jackets on, hoodies on, everything, because I've been standing on the deck for like 2 hours, so it was fucking cold up there. Got down there, I started to melt. Okay, how the fuck these guys work in there day in, day out, I have no idea, because that is torture. But to give Simon credit, he did tell me that underneath his boiler suit, which he wears for work, he's got nothing on but literally a pair of boxers. So that just sort of gives you a little indication of how hot it is there inside this heat zone, really. This little tinder box. Now we've had a look at the engines and I've told you pretty much all about them. We're going to go to the main control room now, where everything is overseen, everything's controlled from, and it really needs 1 or 2 guys to keep the ship going, really. It doesn't need a full crew, not in the engine bay, engine department anyway. It's alright, if you're not used to this sort of stuff, I can understand that it's going to look totally alien and spaceship-like to you, but do not worry, These guys, such as Simon, know exactly what they're doing. They've been in it a long time, and they keep getting people across from Ireland to mainland and back. So we give them credit, and we appreciate everything they do, because they're not really in sight. You know, they're normally underneath the deck in that sweaty heat, keeping everybody nice and warm and running and smooth and everything else. So give those guys credit, people. Earlier on I mentioned about the banks of engines. Okay, so there's two banks. There's a bank on starboard and there's a bank on the port side. Right, there's 1.6 and 1.8 cylinder engine together, and on the other side there's 1.6 and 1.8 cylinder engine together as well. Okay, both these engines have their own gearbox that they put their output power into. So one gearbox takes power from both engines combined. So think of it like this. Yeah, there's two power outputs coming here. They turn 90 degrees, go in, and then come out as one. Okay, so basically these gearboxes convert twin power into single power, which then goes directly through the propeller shaft. Obviously, two banks of engines, two gearboxes, two propeller shafts, right? So the Stena Britannica has two propellers. Basically, what these banks of engines and twin propellers mean is that, say for example, on the starboard side we had an 8-cylinder engine drop. Okay, something wrong with it. We can turn it off, not a problem. Switch the gearbox to single input power, single output power. Okay, so we're running two engines on the port side, we're running one engine on the starboard side, and we're still keeping both propellers turning together. Right, so say we have a propeller drop on the port side. Right, we still have a propeller left on the starboard side to keep us going. Right, we're going to have to counter this with our thrusters and one thing or another, because they're offset. So one propeller's here, one propeller's here. If this one shuts off, this one's naturally going to turn the boat going around that way. Okay, so obviously your thrusters and everything else control it. Two propellers, from what I was told, is basically a safety feature. So if one propeller drops, it doesn't get stranded in the middle of the sea and it's knackered. Okay, and the same with these banks of engines, right? So you've got two engines on the left, two engines on the right. If any one of those engines drops, even two, we can still keep going, guys. Yeah, we can still get back to port, get to safety, etc. So just a number of these things is to do with safety and reliability, really. That there's nothing else to it. Yeah, you could consider horsepower in there as well, but I mean, you know, she's got far sufficient horsepower for what she needs. Okay. So that's pretty much it, guys. I've tried to explain the workings of the Stena Britannica as best I can do. It was very interesting going into the engine room itself, meeting Simon and just having a look around. Very noisy in there, very warm. If you ever get a chance, ask, maybe do a little bit of pleading like I did, because apparently they aren't doing engine tours anymore, but I did ask nicely and quite a few times, and they let me in. So definitely worth a visit. Hopefully you guys have learned something new. If you like what you see, please leave a comment or a like. Also subscribe to my page, Simply Vagabond. Cheers guys, it's Ben here. Catch you again.